Well, here we are, day 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Dang. Thinking about where we started and how I feel now getting in front of the camera, it's just kind of mind-blowing. Just simply like the comfortability that I have talking to the camera is something I never really thought I would achieve. I always looked at people in front of the cameras that are like really comfortable and saw that as impossible. Like they just have something naturally about them that I don't have. But I don't think that's true. I think it's just doing it, putting in the reps, and then you get your chops. So I'm no longer jealous of those people who can get in front of the camera because I'm now one of those people. What an adventure it's been. What an adventure it's been. If you can't tell, I still feel terrible. I think worse today than I did yesterday, but Alicia said she feels better today and I'm like a day behind her. So I'm hoping tomorrow I feel better. Because I'm tired of this, but we've still been working. We had our shoots today. No rest for the weary. You know how that goes, I'm sure. That's one of the things about being self-employed is you don't really get that extra time off or paid time off or get to call in and say, hey boss, can you cover for me? I am that boss. But our shoots went amazing. We shot some rental properties today for a gentleman out in Hanford. He's putting these houses on the market for rent, which was a lot of fun. We've only done a few rentals here and there, some short-term, some long-term. It's the same but different because really our job is to sell the house. We just kind of highlight different areas when it's a rental as opposed to a house for sale. So that's pretty much what our day consisted of. How did everybody else's Wednesday go? Middle of the week. Hopefully everybody's accomplishing their goals, smashing deadlines, stepping outside of their comfort zones, getting ready to start their own 30-day challenge? Question mark? I haven't really decided how into the weeds I want to get with my backstory or anything like that. I figure I'll just start talking. I don't want to bore you guys too much. I know this is a vlog, so it's not intentionally meant to be like super exciting, but it is meant to give you some insight into who I am. And in order to do that, I guess you got to know where I came from, right? So on the surface, I'm 39 years old, born in August. I'm a Virgo. I was born in Anchorage, Alaska. My dad was enlisted in the Air Force and my mom was working at Chuck E. Cheese at the time. My parents separated when I was young and I never really got to know my dad until I was a teenager. But when I was like 6 or 7, my mom met he's my stepdad, but he raised me. I call him my dad, and they've been married ever since. It was a great journey to have a positive male role model in my life. I don't know where I'd be if it was just my mom and I, probably a spoiled brat. But having that strong role model in my life to teach me the right ways to be a man, how to be a gentleman, how to be respectful, have integrity, things like that. I got that from him, and that's something I try and pass down to my kids as well. Had an average childhood. Grew up pretty modest means. We weren't wealthy or anything like that. My stepdad was also military. Both my parents worked really, really hard for what we had. What's funny is I don't really remember much about my childhood. Things here and there, but I'm not one of those people who can remember every single detail of every single day. Just highlights here and there is kind of how my memory worked. I remember we did move around a lot because my dad was in the military, and then after that he got into correction. So, we kind of had to figure out where we were going. So I was born in Alaska, lived in Albuquerque, New Mexico, California, spent a little time in Florida when we were really, really young, when my mom was living with her mom. Got to see a lot of the country, so experienced a lot of the different cultures, which is really nice. Wasn't really extra talented in anything when I was a kid. I was just like super smart. I guess that's not true. I was pretty musically inclined. Picked up a trumpet, really loved that, and then learned how to play like guitar, drums, piano. So I love music, really good at math. Those sides of the brain are related, right? But yeah, I wasn't like tall. I was like average height. I was not really skinny, not really heavy. I was husky, so I wasn't like an Adonis or anything like that. Self-proclaimed nerd, I guess is a way to put it, Always loved video games, love putting things together, Legos. Gosh, I don't know. As a super smart kid, I never really related well to school. So that was a struggle. I think I did really well in elementary school, junior high, and then got into high school and I don't know, I never really fit in anywhere. And I kind of felt like an outcast in all of the different groups of people. I didn't really get along with the nerds. I wasn't a jock. We moved around so much. I didn't really come up with all these other kids that I was now in school with. Like they all had these really long-lasting relationships. So I was kind of an outsider. I had like no social value in school whatsoever. You know, I was just another guy. I just couldn't wait to get out of there. I felt like I was smarter than everybody else, smarter than my teachers. Nobody had anything to teach me. And you know, that's a major regret that I have, is an unwillingness to be teachable at a young age just because of arrogance. When you know you're smart, you're just not growing because you are smarter than everybody else. And the curriculum is based towards the lowest common denominator. And you know, back in those days, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have Google, we didn't have computers readily accessed or anything like that. All I had was a library card, which I definitely used to my advantage because I was thirsty for knowledge, always thirsty for knowledge, but naive and ignorant as well. High school, I spent just counting down the minutes, ready to get out of there. Had a terrible junior year, just bullied and picked on. People that were supposed to be friends ended up not being friends. And you know, I mean, I feel like everybody kind of has the same high school story. None of us had a great time. Even the people that are super popular, I'm sure, had their own struggles too, right? So yeah, I couldn't wait to get out of there. And then junior year was terrible. I ended up having a very rough summer. I was super rebellious, started partying way too much, hanging out with the wrong crowd, just guys that were up to no good. Ended up throwing a party at my parents' house. We did a pretty good job cleaning up the party, but we left all the trash in the trash cans. So long story short, I was on thin ice from how rebellious I was being. So I knew that like the next screw up was gonna basically be my ticket out of there. So I knew I was in trouble and then decided to never go back home. As a 17-year-old kid, another huge mistake. I didn't know how to communicate. It wasn't even that I didn't know how to apologize. It was just that I had no confidence in communicating with adults whatsoever. And I didn't know that, you know, an apology and an explanation would go a long way. So I didn't go back home, which leads me to the failure of my late teens and early 20s of just making one wrong decision after another, after another, after another, after another, after another, after another. But then I met my wife. But that's farther ahead than we want to get. And you know, I say I was a screw up, but I don't think that was the case. You know, I believe I'm a good person. I love hard. I'm very empathetic. I just think that my late teens came around, and with the lack of guidance that I did have, I just decided to go crazy. I see people go down different paths, right? And there's the path that where you go down the path that like your parents kind of lay out for you, and they end up very successful but unfulfilling into other ways, right? Now, the path that I thought that I laid out was the one that I lay every single stone in front of me and make every single mistake and have to teach myself every single lesson. But where I'm at now, between where I came from, I wouldn't trade that, because I've learned so many lessons and I've grown so much as a person, a human, right? An earthling that living that life and taking that path and building my own road ahead of me has given me such a unique perspective that I'm able to start businesses and be creative and take risks that I think could make a normal man cry, because I've been there, I've been to the bottom, and I've clawed my way to where I'm at. And we still have a long way to go. Every day is challenge and struggle, but that's what life is about, right? Challenge and struggle. I don't even know how much of this I'm gonna keep in the video. I think that's enough to kind of give you a general idea of my childhood. I might get more detailed here and there. I just kind of think it's important to lay a foundation so you guys know, where I'm coming from. I'm not some privileged guy that has everything handed to him. I've had to work hard for everything that I've ever had. And when we do make it, I want everybody to know that we started from the bottom, but we're here. And if I could do it, you could do it. All it takes is hard work, determination, confidence in yourself, and knowing that if you have a dream, see it through to the end. And the only time the end really comes is if you give up. So I hope I didn't bore you guys to tears. I hope I gave you a little bit of insight. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. If you want me to go deeper, let me know. I can go deeper. And tomorrow, day 11, I'll give you a little bit of insight into my 20s and how I went from homeless to making over $10,000 a month in sales. If you made it this far, thank you so much for sticking around for day 10. Can't believe I'm here, a third of the way down, 2/3 of the way to go. I can't wait to see how much further we progress over the next 20 days. I felt like if I was like, oh, I've progressed enough, I could end it here at day 10. But that's not the case. I know every day I'm going to get a little bit better, a little more comfortable, feel better too, hopefully. And I committed. And if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And I hope I've proven that to the YouTube verse, all of our viewers and commenters and likes and subscribers. And if you haven't liked and subscribed yet, please make sure you smash that like button and be sure to subscribe so you can see when the next episode drops. But you already know when that's going to happen because it's tomorrow, day 11. And if you're just finding me here on day 10 and you're like, hey, what's this guy doing? Why is he doing, what is this 30-day YouTube challenge? Check out this video right here where I go over everything. It's day 1. There's 10 of these now, so you got some catching up to do. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for following along. I appreciate you. I hope everybody has a great day. I'll see you tomorrow on day 11. Bye.